Go, go, go.
While it is clear that Malaysia has failed to create a worthwhile national service over its 14-year span, there are other successful national service programs ongoing to this day. For example, our neighbour Singapore has had a mandatory 2-year service period for all male citizens since 1967, maintaining the highest sense of honour within Singaporean culture. And if the main goal of the new national service program is to promote racial unity, just imagine. What if students from wealthy backgrounds are given the opportunity to teach the rural poor, or urbanites working with the Orang Asli to protect the forest from poachers, or the rural poor working on engineering projects and commercial farms, learning new skills and inculcating deeper human values, replacing some of the bootcamp style activities originally conducted. The term National Service came from the United Kingdom's National Service Armed Forces Act 1939, as it declared war on Germany at the start of World War II, enforcing mandatory conscriptions of men towards military service. And as peacetime came about, this was modified into the National Service Act 1948. Today, conscription is legally authorized in about 60 countries. A national service program generally involves some basic training, specialty training, and a defined period of service time within the armed forces. Upon completion, recruits either remain in armed forces or transition into the reservist state with periodic refresher training in order to be operationally ready for mobilization in times of threat. The red on this map are the countries with ongoing universal conscription, and they correspond to countries within zones of conflict, or where national security has been an important historical issue. The Malaysian National Service Program was established in December of 2003. This was in the hopes of combating the problem of racial segregation found in the national school system. The Barisan National Government felt the need to implement a training program that would foster a highly patriotic society that appreciated Malaysia's historical culture. Parked under the Ministry of Defence, it consisted of a mandatory 3 months commitment to the government for citizens aged 18 years, randomly selected using a computer process. Trainees were assigned to camps and worked together on the 4 modules of the programme. The physical module included marching, hand-to-hand combat, usage of Colt M16, flying fox, canoeing, mock missions such as search and rescue, navigation, survival training, and first aid training. 2 classroom modules, one which covered character building, and a nation building module which covered national history, sovereignty and dignity, defence and national security, and loyalty towards Barisan Nasional. The 4th module being a community service module to provide trainees a chance to serve society. Many claimed poor management from the outset. Trainers were ill-supervised, while others were ill-trained, which resulted in deaths and at least in one case rape allegations. Cited for its lack of cultural sensitivity, the program coming from Biro Tata Negara, or the National Civics Bureau, allegedly taught racial propaganda of the then UMNO-led Barisan National Government. Additionally, training providers from private sectors were not paid, which resulted in the suspension of certain modules. Eventually, with the funding challenges, the program was made optional and then abolished by 2018. All in all, the government had spent around 8 billion ringgit for national service program, with almost half of the budget tied down to the rental of bootcamp facilities.
Go, go, go.
While it is clear that Malaysia has failed to create a worthwhile national service over its 14-year span, there are other successful national service programs ongoing to this day. For example, our neighbour Singapore has had a mandatory 2-year service period for all male citizens since 1967, 2 years after its separation from Malaysia. Singapore needed to raise a regular force to protect the island and its small population sovereignty. As time progressed, the national service has evolved into a national institution, maintaining the highest sense of honour within Singaporean culture. This level of establishment has fostered a strong sense of patriotism, a more unified nation, and a stronger Singaporean identity. If we have a national service program, should it be military-based, or should it strengthen internal sovereignty, and hence, resilience towards external threat? Would future global wars be more likely based on a social and economic front rather than a military front? Let's take 2 ideas from 2 national programs in America to explore elements of how to strengthen internal sovereignty. These are the New Deal, Franklin Roosevelt's socioeconomic program in the 1930s to help bring America out of the Great Depression, and AmeriCorps, a voluntary civil society program created in 1993 under President Bill Clinton. The New Deal was a series of programs, public work projects, financial reforms, and regulations in response to the Great Depression. Public Work Project created jobs for the unemployed, the youth, and the elderly. To address rural poverty, farming reforms were introduced to cut down cotton farming in order to curb cotton surpluses and depress cotton prices. Farmers were instead incentivized to grow soil-building crops and undertake erosion prevention practices in order to enrich land that was tired. This saw a growth of soya plantation, which today, rotated with corn, makes the largest crop in America by land use. AmeriCorps engages adults in public service work with the goal of helping others and meeting critical needs in the community. Members commit to a full-time or part-time position offered by a network of non-profit community organizations and public agencies to fulfill assignments in the field of education, public safety, healthcare, and environmental protection. An internal study found that the participation in AmeriCorps strengthened civic attitudes and sentiment, making members more likely to choose careers in public service. What if students from wealthy backgrounds are given the opportunity to teach the rural poor, or urbanites working with the Orang Asli to protect the forest from poachers, or the rural poor working on engineering projects and commercial farms, learning new skills and inculcating deeper human values in appreciation of each other? This is where NGOs can act as the new foundation to bridge the differences in society, giving legitimacy to the National Service Program, leading to a stronger civil society. Apart from NGOs, the civil service may also provide an option for vocational training in sectors including general public services, education, judicial and legal services, agriculture, and police and armed forces. This community service system will allow trainees of all societal backgrounds to come out of the program not only with new knowledge about the communities and cultures around them, but also the first-hand experience to allow the information to stick. As long as the tasks require a strong sense of teamwork and hard work, these experiences replace some of the bootcamp-style activities originally conducted. Studies have also found that volunteering and helping others has considerable health benefits, improving overall physical health, mental health, life satisfaction, social well-being, and trustworthy relationship skills, which last for the long term. These benefits, however, rely on the basis that volunteering is based on genuineness. Hence, it is important to manage society's perception of national service in order to generate a sense of pride, belonging, and national identity of our countrymen. The term national service implies a commitment towards a public service, for the nation, for a greater cause, beyond self-interest. Let's put our heads together to develop a national service program befitting the challenges of today's polarized society. Good Capitalism. I'm Tara Sekhar for breaking down the issues.